So this is it. This week was one of those magical weeks that is happening more and more often where we get to drive to a movie theater and watch a new Star Wars movie.
This week's episode of Comically Gaming is brought to you by Mutiny Info Cafe. Check out Mutiny Info Cafe, where they not only have a great selection of used books, records, and great coffee, but they also have a fantastic selection of new and used comic books, graphic novels, and more. Mutiny Information Cafe in Denver at the corner of Broadway and Ellsworth, and online at mutinyinfocafe.com.
Welcome to Comically Gaming, episode 106, the weekly talk show in which we discuss our obsessions and the week's news around them. A games, comics, and culture production. Catch new episodes every Tuesday. And please consider supporting us on Patreon, patreon.com/GCandC. You can help us improve all of our content for as little as $1 a month.
This week in Comically Gaming, Spider-Man Homecoming 2's new villain, PS4's final days, PGA Tour's game license, Solo opening weekend sales, the newest Star Wars spin-off news, and then we go full spoilers on Solo at the end of the show. And what up?
What's up,
everybody?
What's happening?
Wow.
How's it
No
going?
Dirk.
No
No Dirk this week. You guys had a great show last week again without me.
Oh, it's fun.
Listened to it throughout the week. It was fantastic.
Thanks.
We didn't
Even
even make the dollar joke.
Oh,
Good.
yeah.
It's played out.
It is played out. It's getting old. Doesn't have the same impact because it's just not. But
It was funny the first 10 times.
first 10 times. I like the jokes in Deadpool too.
Yeah.
Oh.
All right.
You better
So
knock it
What'd you
off.
do, Jeff?
so I used some reward points at work this week, and I bought a couple more Switch games. Yeah.
So I did with my reward point.
That's awesome. I didn't even see that on there, but
What was it?
the Super Nintendo, the NES Classic Mini.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I bought Mario Kart Deluxe, Mario Kart
Nice.
8 Deluxe. I haven't really played it. The kid was playing it, and it looks. I'm just amazed at how clean it looks. And then I bought Super Mario Odyssey.
Yeah.
Go ahead, explain to the world why the hesitation is in your voice there.
I've been tired of Mario games, but I'm impressed with this game. I'm super impressed so far. Just all the
Great
different
game.
all the different elements, and it's like, wow. And then it's 3D, sort of like what was it, Mario Sunshine?
64.
It was kind of like Mario Sunshine, just how they've expanded. But now the transition, they'll go back to Super Mario Brothers. And
Right,
certain
and walls.
but then they change it, and it's Mario Brothers with a twist. So it's a lot of fun. Story's okay so far. It's kind of
Let me guess.
yeah.
Bowser captures
Kidnapped
Princess
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, check.
So
Yeah.
nothing new and groundbreaking, but no, it's a good game. I played State of Decay 2 with Nate last night, early last night, or early this morning actually. And
So what do you think? It took me so long to figure out the headset thing, and then we didn't get to play that much. Like, what do you think of the game?
Well, up until I glitched out trying to get in that car, no, it was cool. I played it again today. I played it more and got into it, and man, when there's no electricity and no lights and it gets dark, it's fucking dark. And that flashlight doesn't do you shit. It's good for buildings, but yeah, it really reminds me of like an open world Walking Dead. If they made a really good Walking Dead video game, this would sort of be it. It's the same premise, but no, it's super cool.
Yeah, I liked it a lot. Like I was shocked how much I liked it. I played the first one for a few hours and wasn't a huge fan of it. It didn't kind of pull me in, but this one, for some reason, I just really like the gameplay in it, and it seems like there's kind of just enough zombies in the world. Like when we play Dying Light, it's like that's like a struggle sometimes because there's so many of them everywhere. Like in this game, like the country areas where you can kind of get past them or stealth up and grab them. Like I really liked it. I liked it. It kind of has that feeling of 7 Days to Die, where there isn't really a story to it. It's just kind of like you building up your bases and surviving in an open world, right? And I just thought the action is so much better. Like it feels like a Ubisoft game to me, like The Division or
that's what I was thinking.
I
was thinking Division today when I was playing it.
Right.
I think that's just the look. I think it's the look of the Unreal engine they use for the graphics. But yeah, I do like that. There's sort of a story, but it's a zombie post-apocalyptic world. So you kind of know what the story is, and the story is survival. But yeah, it's great so far, and like you said, there's not like masses amounts of zombie hordes. Sort of, like what was it? The Dead Rising. There are. I probably haven't got to them yet, but right. I was thinking more like was it Dead Rising? Is that the name of it on the Xbox?
Yeah, it's like one of the launch games.
Dead Rising 3, where you just mow through like mountains of zombies and I'm not a fan of those. I like this one where a little more tact and you have to use tactics and strategy to get around it. And I agree with you that the backpack size is really annoying because you only carry like a few things, but it's more realistic. You don't have like this great bag of holding where you just load up on shit and then run back. You're
the
limited.
Actual size of a backpack.
Yeah, and then we use encumbrance as a way to make you move slower, so you're not greedy with grabbing stuff. So it actually makes sense. And then as you fill up your backpack, I noticed that backpack expands visually,
right?
So it looks like it's overflowing with stuff. So I didn't read any comics. I watched a really, really good movie called Solo that I liked a lot.
Right.
I like that movie. That was awesome.
The Solo Spectacular. We're going full spoilers at the end of the show.
On, but I like Solo. I was pleasantly surprised. I'll say that for now without going into the spoilers. I was pleasantly surprised at how good it was because, Justice League went through two directors halfway. It went through two directors during the whole production. This one had the same issue about 3/4 of the way. Ron Howard stepped in, but it was 10 times better than Justice League for having multiple directors. Yeah, no comic books. I meant to get over so that try and catch up on a few things. I'm not sure what's out right now, but I need to get Oblivion Song number 3 and read that still before next week. And that's it. That's it. I mean, watching Solo makes me want to play the Star Wars RPG game now. Just to get
Galaxies or like.
No, to get into all that documents you put in a drive.
Oh, you're talking about tabletop?
Yeah, tabletop.
Oh, yeah.
If I want to play Star Wars Galaxies, I can play Star Wars Galaxies.
Sure.
Because there is a server that's alive, and I almost, that game almost destroyed my life. Played it for hours, days. But okay, that's my week.
So you got okay. So I kind of. I jumped in off of yours. I spent some work rewards points and got this bad boy in the mail. It's kind of, I got to say it's troublesome. Like, first of all, hate the cords. It's so stupid. Cords, like, we live in a cord-free world. And when you got cords running across the room and the dog walks in and knocks it over, like, that's just not a good thing. But awesome collection of games on here. Really great. I'm playing them a lot with the kids, finally getting them to play it, kind of the novelty of it. It's so cool, way smaller than I expected it to be. The controllers are awesome. There's probably, of the 30 games that are on here, probably 10 of these are like some of the greatest games of all time.
Yep.
So it's definitely worth the cost of entry. But also, just it's so stupid that these are not on Switch.
I know.
mean, if they threw all this stuff on Switch along with the NES ones and start throwing N64 on there, like that gives me a reason to actually want to Switch. Like,
Well, they're working on it.
Then they couldn't sell a million.
they are
of
not
those.
working on it. They are not working on it, Jeff.
They're trying to sell those instead.
But I think there's a market for both.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, these are cool collector's edition. People would buy this anyways. You could still do this and sell these games on Switch.
Yep.
I guess.
That's silly that they don't have. So,
You could.
there's that. Stole the Xbox from the kids' room and have been playing it the last few nights when State of Decay came out. Like you say, I think I talked through State of Decay. I think it's great. It really blew me away how much I liked it. Also played a little bit of City Skylines.
Mhm.
I've always been kind of a SimCity nerd, and City Skylines I haven't had a chance to play yet, and it's on the Game Pass. So I downloaded that and was playing through that. It's okay. I wish it was better. It's exactly like every SimCity I've ever played. It's exactly like them. And so I just wish it would have moved on a little bit. Played Detroit for like probably 2 hours into Detroit. Detroit seems all right. I those games live and die on their story, and I think after playing the 2 hours, like, I'm not gonna stop playing God of War to finish that story out. It definitely didn't grab me, but it seems okay. You know, whatever. It's all right.
It's all right.
And then watch Legion. Legion's awesome. It blows me away how awesome Legion is. And then also, I'm not totally caught up. I'm 2 weeks behind. Actually, 3 weeks as of this night that we're recording now. But Fear the Walking Dead season 3 is great. Me and the wife kind of binged it this week, and it's great. Don't you think, Corey?
Yeah, I think it's awesome. It's
Man, it's
really good this season.
Yeah, the first 2 seasons were okay, but I was done. I said that I wasn't going to watch this year, and then the wife was like basically made me. And man, I'm glad she did, because it is really good. I'm blown away by how good it is. I feel like they really, all these new characters that they introduced are awesome. The way that they did the time jump to line it up with the regular Walking Dead show is awesome, and they're still kind of in the middle of that. And then I feel like the production, like, they really stepped it up. Like, I feel like it's not Legion level, but it is Preacher level production. Like, I feel like just the way that they kind of do these real long cuts now, and even like the opening credits and stuff like that, just
Like
way
how
better
short
than it
the
has
opening
been.
credits are now.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, me too. But just like
did you get to the big shacker?
I think so.
Yeah.
We had to talk about it later, but I think so.
Yeah.
So yeah, I know it was kind of a long road to getting good, and people are burnt out on the regular Walking Dead even right now. But I gotta say, if you're one of those people like me who watched a couple seasons and kind of were like, I don't know if I'm gonna do it, start watching it, because it's really good right now. I'm blown away by how good it is. And then Saga, still reading Saga, still not caught up. Hopefully by next week. But yeah, that's it. That's my week. Corey?
Nice. All right. I beat 3 games this week.
Damn,
Nice.
dude.
Yeah, stepping it up. 3 great games. I beat Dishonored 2,
Oh, wow.
Bayonetta 2, and Detroit. So, they were all really awesome. Dishonored, I give it 8. Not as good as I like the first one better. I thought the story was a little bit better, and kind of the levels were a little bit better. Just the builds, the ways you could sneak around and stuff. But I mean, if you like Dishonored, you'll like Dishonored 2. Is really, really good. Bayonetta 2, I give a 9.
Wow.
It's really great. I love Bayonetta. I mean, it's just a great game. It just, it's crazy. The story's just over the top. It's just great action. The characters are cool. After the second one, they really grow on you. It's everything about it's good, and it's like a different kind of action game. It's almost.
It's like Devil May Cry, right? It's like one of those kind, just like.
No, Devil May Cry, I would say, is like God of War, like the originals.
I thought it was way more over the top and stuff with the gunplay and floating in the air and.
Isn't Devil May Cry though? Isn't it like almost like God of War, where you're not in third person? Like, I don't know. It's I guess I haven't played a Devil May Cry in a long time, but it's but it's not. I mean, it is a lot of button pressing, but I wouldn't say it's just button mashing. There's a ton of dodging in it. I mean, you gotta time your dodges right, like the whole time. Like, there's a ton of shit going on in the screen. It's really easy to get lost, but you have to be surrounded by 5 enemies, and you have to be paying attention to all 5 of them simultaneously, because when you get hit, it hurts. So you gotta dodge a lot to be able to survive. So.
Hey, when you say the story's over the top, is it also good, or is it just crazy?
It's good. The story isn't what makes it so great. Sure. I would say. I mean, it's a decent story. It's a pretty out there story, almost like a Japanese RPG or something. Just like, I don't want to spoil it or anything, it's like, angels and demons and, just pretty out there, but really great. I'm super hyped for the Bayonetta for Switch now. And then just beat Detroit, which was also really great. I give that 8.5. Definitely the best.
So I should keep playing?
I would recommend it for sure.
Okay. Right.
Yeah, I would finish I wouldn't stop playing God of War to finish Detroit, but I would play it after God of War. The story was really good. It's funny, how you start off thinking from your human mindset and like, well, these are just machines or whatever, and then like by the end of it, like it's all about the androids. Like I don't want to. There's multiple endings. I'd like to say which one I got, but I don't want to spoil any of the endings. But really cool. Just cool decisions. It is the same game. The same shit as the past 2 games, but they've perfected that. What they do is great now. It's still like, I don't really like. They try and make it immersive by like having you press down on the stick to sit down in a chair and like spin the stick in a circle to turn a doorknob and stuff, and that doesn't really feel immersive to me. It seems kind of unnecessary, but that's what they do. They love doing that. But the QuickTime events, are way better than the past 2 games. Like, I wasn't like super fucking pissed like I was in Beyond Two Souls, like where I didn't know what to press or anything. Like, as long as I was focused and on it, I could get them and not be super pissed. Like, I felt like it would be my fault if I fucked up and not like the game's fault. But really awesome. It was about 12 hours long, so just as long, like the same length as the past 2. I really liked it. So.
I like the how they show you the tree at the end of the missions of all the different choices you can make, and then how you can compare it to the world or your friends to see what choices everybody else made. I thought that's cool.
Yeah, the tree's cool for sure. Yeah, one of my enemies, I was like in the 6%.
Wow.
Most people did not do what I did apparently, but yeah, really really cool. It did some other cool stuff that kind of caught me by surprise, but I really liked it. definitely the best of their games. That's kind of, and yeah, I don't think I read any comic books. I kind of get my weeks mixed up, so I'm not. I don't think I read any this week. I might have. And watched the same shows you watched. Watched all my usual anime.
Darlin and the Franxx.
Darlin and the Franxx, still great.
Derby Girls.
I gave up on Derby Girls after episode 2. But,
I can't believe it.
It's just, yeah, I mean, it's good to watch a couple episodes of it, but then you kind of get it. I finished the first season of Amanchu.
Okay.
So, which is about scuba girls that go scuba diving.
What?
And they're in the scuba diving club.
Oh my God. I can't do it.
It was great. I give it an 8 out of 10. The first season, really enjoyed it.
What's it called again? Amachu?
Amanchu, Amanchu.
Okay.
The current season's like a current airing anime, so I wanted to get up to date on it. So I'm watching this. This one came out a couple years ago, I think 2016. The first season did, so finished that out.
The girls that go scuba diving.
Yeah, it's just, they're in the scuba diving club in high school. And one girl's like a transfer student, so she starts off like real shy, and the other girl who's like kind of a pro scuba diver is like super crazy and outgoing. And then, it's just about their relationship and the other people in this scuba diving club and their teacher and stuff, and just them, going throughout life.
When they scuba dive, is there like some action? Like, do they find cool stuff, or is that not really what it's more about?
Well, they actually never scuba dived until the last episode of the season. Spoiler alert. But great show. I watched Solo, obviously, and I watched in between beating Bayonetta in Detroit. I had one night where I knew I wouldn't be able to beat a game, so I had nothing to do. So I watched Ingrid Goes West. It's a movie produced by Aubrey Plaza, and she's also the star in it. Yeah, I was looking up like top movies of last year, and it was on one of the lists, and I just really like Aubrey Plaza, so I watched it. It was pretty good. It's like she plays like a crazy person in it, and she's good at playing crazy people. So it's about like she's obsessed with like social media and like it's kind of like a crazy stalker, so I won't spoil it, but it's good. I give it probably 7 on, maybe, about a 7 out of 10.
That's what I give Solo.
That's probably around as good as Solo. And that's it. That's my week. News of the week.
Yeah.
Number 5. Jake Gyllenhaal is in talks to play Mysterio in Spider-Man: Homecoming's sequel.
So I think this one only made it as high as it did because of my vote on it. The Mysterio's my favorite Spider-Man villain, so I was stoked to see mention of that. I hope that this rumor is true. I still haven't seen anything confirmed yet, but man, he would be a cool villain.
He would be, yeah. I think Jake Gyllenhaal would do a good job with him. I liked him in Blade Runner. Wasn't he in Blade Runner 2049?
No,
think so.
You made that mistake before in Comically Gaming too. He's not in Blade Runner.
Who was that?
That was not Jake Gyllenhaal.
You're talking about the guys.
Oh,
Ryan
Ryan
Gosling.
Gosling. God damn it. That's I'm sorry. So that's like Jason Bateman and Jerry McConnell getting those two mixed up.
But yeah, I'm not a huge Jake Gyllenhaal fan, but I would like to see Mysterio in Spider-Man. Yeah, I think he's an awesome villain too. So
For sure. Well,
if they do it right, it could be really awesome.
I thought I was a Jake Gyllenhaal fan, but obviously I'm a Ryan Gosling fan. So I don't know.
You
I
and
trust him
all
to
the
get it right.
girls in the country.
Yeah.
You like The Notebook?
No.
All right. Number 4.
Until you watch Forever My Girl, then you can't say anything.
I
Number
never
4.
watched The Notebook. Ryan Gosling's in it though.
Oh.
Chicks love it. Number 4. The next PlayStation is saying they're saying PS4 is in the end of its life cycle. They're saying that within the next 3 years it's going to be done for. So, and then we'll be on to PS5.
Well, I'm sort of at a crossroads then, because I've had my PS4 for I think 3 years now. So what if it shits the bed a year before the PS5? Do I wait for the PS5 or do I go and buy a PS4 Pro?
Wait for the PS5.
Wait for the PS5 and go stir crazy for a year?
You got to switch too.
You gotta switch. I love my PS4 Pro, but I wouldn't have bought it if my PlayStation hadn't died. Like it's a sweet upgrade. I guess. Do you have a 4K TV?
No, I don't.
Then probably not.
Yeah.
Like if I bought a 4K TV, I might upgrade, but I wouldn't say it's. I mean, you still get all the same games. They're just at a slightly lower frame rate or a slightly lower graphics.
Anything above 30 frames per second, people say you can see a difference, but
that's a lie.
That's a lie. You can't.
No, it's a lie that you could definitely see this difference. Is what I mean to say. It's that's people say that you can't tell above 30 frames per second, but that's a lie. When I play Monster Hunter, if I switch it back down to the regular frames per second, it looks like I can see the frames, like it looks shitty, and then I turn it up and it looks way smoother. Like it's, and I never thought that I would care about that or anything, and I never noticed it until I actually got the PS4 Pro. But once you see the difference, it's pretty awesome. But you don't notice it until you have the better thing.
Yeah, it's just not $500 awesome if you have one that's already working.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
But yeah, if mine broke today, I'd buy it. For 3 more years, I'd buy it in a second.
In a heartbeat. If it was now, yes. If a year before, that's harder. Do you think, though, this could be sort of like a way to bait Microsoft with getting them to start worrying about releasing their next-gen console?
I don't think so. I think just same as every generation.
Right?
Yeah, it's just part of the cycle.
Yeah.
Talking about winding down.
But whatever, we still got a bunch of awesome games coming out.
We do.
Yeah,
E3.
not crazy news or anything, but it was just that somebody head of PlayStation or something said that it's about 3 years left. Number 3, EA has lost the PGA Tour license. It's
pretty crazy.
That is
They're
crazy.
sweet about that. Yeah, I don't know. It is crazy.
Well, I think EA of all makes the best sports games. So
yeah, Tiger Woods is one of my favorite games of all time. All right.
Yeah, it's just sad. It's the end of an era.
It is.
The Tiger used to come out every year, and as far as I knew, it sold decent. It's weird that they just let it lapse away. Like,
yeah,
it kind of went away with Tiger's life being destroyed too. It's funny, like that. They dropped him and then went away for a couple years, and then came back with Rory, and then that game didn't get great reviews because it was super like content light when it first came out. But they slowly added to it over time. We were talking the other day about how when we played Rory, how shocking it was that it, came
so
back.
much,
But
yeah.
that being said, Rory's off the store now. You can't buy it anymore.
Wow.
Oh,
Now
really?
that the PGA Tour, now that the PGA license is gone,
Oh,
you
yeah.
cannot buy Rory anymore unless you go buy a used disc.
We get to
Wow.
keep it, though?
Yeah, you get to keep it if you already own it. Yeah, of course.
Damn.
But she gone now. And then the other part of this news is that the golf club picked it up, and the golf club was pretty terrible when me and you tried to play that.
Yeah. That's
You
what,
know?
that's what sucks. Hopefully they
Yeah.
really step up their game then for the next one and make it sweet.
Should have
Right.
gave it to clap hands.
Yeah.
Clap hands. That would be interesting. If they had real courses and golfers, that would be interesting.
Yeah.
He'd get pissed off at the wind all the time.
Number 2. Solo misfires in its opening weekend at the box office. Underperforming, not doing great in sales. So
I think it's. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No.
You go.
Well, I just think that it the slump and the misfire as they reported it is just based on all the for months all the negativity. I mean, we all had those angst of like, oh man, this movie's gonna be terrible. And so when I went and watched it, I was like, oh, I don't know. I was pleasantly surprised, but I think that that's what made it not be as big on an opening weekend, and coming after, Infinity Wars, and then Deadpool 2, and then this one.
yeah, that's what I thought the biggest thing was, just that it was the third big movie in a month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And plus, there was a lot of negativity from the trailers. People nitpicking that, Chewbacca was 3 centimeters too short, and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, dude, no.
Yeah.
I didn't hear that. I just overall kind of just questioning why, the recasting and stuff, especially overall. We'll talk about it later.
Yeah, we'll talk about it later.
I think more than anything, it's fatigue from having it be the third big movie in a month.
Yeah. Yeah. Number 1, though. Logan director is apparently going to write and direct the Boba Fett movie.
I'm excited.
Yeah, blew my mind.
Because
super excited.
So far, the Star Wars story movies have been good. I mean, they're not okay. They're not super fantastic, but they've been really good. They've been solid. So I think that, and Logan, if the director for Logan, which I can't remember his name because of sucking names, is writing and directing it. I mean, I loved Logan. Logan was great.
Logan was great.
I love the feel of it. I love how gritty it was, and it wasn't your, gentle kind of X-Men movie. It was, nope, I'm Logan and I'm old and pissed off.
Yeah, it's funny. If I sit here right now and try and think, okay, what would be the coolest person who made a movie and then a Star Wars movie, and how would I line that up? And I can't think of anything. Mm-hmm. And then they keep on announcing the coolest combinations ever. When we've got the Game of Thrones people making movies, and then this, you could not pick a better combination, I think, than the guy who made Logan and Boba Fett. To me, that's the kind of tone that you want for Boba Fett, right?
Yeah.
God, it's going to be awesome, I think. I'm super excited for that.
It's going to be super dark, and it's going to be just like Logan, but with disintegration and light and laser blasters and jetpacks. And I think Boba Fett deserves his own movie.
Boba.
And I don't remember the guy that played him, but I think that if they got the guy that played him in the Attack of the Clones, that played
they haven't said yet.
So
he'd be pretty old now. I don't know if that would work anymore. I think you got to keep your helmet on.
They could CGI it, little caterpillar eyebrows, and
I just think keep the helmet on.
If he had a mustache, you'd have to blink that out.
I feel like they can't keep the helmet on if it's whole movie.
Keep it on.
Keep it on.
Keeps it on the whole time. Yeah.
What do you think, Corey? Like, for us growing up, Boba Fett was the biggest badass in the world. You know what I mean? And like, is it a dream to have a Boba Fett movie? Does this do anything for you?
I mean, I just think it's an awesome combination. I think, you know, that the director of Logan can make an awesome story about a bounty hunter, and Boba Fett's cool. I'm hyped for it for sure. I think it'll be awesome.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, Community Corner. This week, Nate threw out the question, what are your thoughts on Solo? And we actually got some pretty hefty responses here. Phil said it was super fun. Alden made Han happen. There's one huge surprise that I can't wait to talk about once we can talk spoilers. Yep.
Let's not talk about that yet.
Nate M said it was good. If you've been waiting for the phrase mandibular notch, I can't even say that word, to be made canon, you can finally exhale.
Oof.
Francisco said, meh. I did like it, but meh. I loved it. Kent said he liked it, not too original, but everything a Star Wars movie should be, with a few surprises, and any movie with Khaleesi has to be good. Give it an 8. And then Bill said, love Solo, great Easter eggs. I agree. And Jeremy said, liked it, hated the cameo, which I thought was interesting. So that leads us to next week's question. And as soon as I pull up my notes, next week's question is, there's been now announced movie for Boba Fett and
Obi-Wan.
Potentially Obi-Wan. What would be the Star Wars character you'd like to see a movie made out of? Or what kind of Star Wars movie would you like to see? What is your dream? So I'm going to throw that up in Facebook this week. And let your imagination run wild. As long as it's not Jar Jar Binks. Because we already had that disaster. So nothing from the prequels doesn't count. They don't exist. They're not canon. That's what I say.
All right, and it's time for this week's Community Corner Spotlight on the YouTube channels that have supported us throughout the week. We got some new subscriptions. As always, super duper appreciate that. Really, really can't say enough about how blown away I am by all the support that everybody out there has given us. So that being said, these people have YouTube channels as well. Please, if you like what we do, go to the comment section underneath this video on YouTube. That's youtube.com/GCandC if you're listening to the audio version of this. And go through these people's channels, click them up, give them some subscribes, hit the bell, do all that stuff, right?
Ding, ding, ding.
This week we got Shadow X, Power of Loki Gaming.
Yeah.
He's your friend Johnny.
Power of Loki Gaming is part of the Retired Saints Gaming.
Yep. Their posse is definitely supporting us hard lately, and we appreciate that. Your friend Johnny, Incredible Gaming, and KD Production Vlogs. So thank you very much, everybody. Really appreciate the support. Every week we do a little contest, the name of the week, based on nothing to do with the content of the channels, but the name alone. What do you guys got?
Power of Loki.
Power of Loki Gaming.
I'm going with your friend Johnny.
I almost went
But
for that.
that being said, Power of Loki wins out. Power of Loki, your coveted, your name goes on the Stanley Cup of Name of the Week.
The Platinum Trophy.
Soak that in.
Yeah. Yep. And then I just wanted to shout out people who jumped on our stream this week. Jeff was streaming Titanfall 2. You got Rab2784.
Rab's like one of our biggest supporters in general.
Yeah.
Really appreciate everything that he's thrown at us as well.
For sure. We got Logan Orban and LD Gaming. We were missing somebody, it looks like.
No, that was it. No. LD, there was only
So sounds
Where's
like
the captain?
Captain didn't jump on. No, I didn't see him. No.
Captain!
He was busy. Well, like Rab, he lives in England, and he was like, it's 3:30 in the morning. I've got to go, and I'm like, dude, go to bed. And he said his kids got to go to school in the morning. And I'm like, oh yeah, you guys don't have Memorial Day over there, so.
That's right.
And Logan was cool. I know he's a brand new YouTube channel. I'm not sure which one he was. I was trying to look it up, and then LD Gaming became our 1560th subscriber.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So appreciate all you
right.
guys jumping out here.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Yep. So we're about to go full spoilers on the Solo movie. If you haven't seen Solo yet, this is your time to check out here and then come back and after you've seen the movie, right? In the meantime, you can check out everything we do. Actually, I'm gonna make some changes over at patreon.com because I've been slacking and haven't put stuff up there, but I think people know where to find us. You find us at youtube.com/GCandC, or you punch Comically Gaming into iTunes or Google Play or Stitcher. That's how you find us, right? Everybody knows that's where our stuff is. So I'm going to go back to try and make it Patreon more of like a blog sort of thing, right, of writing. And me and Dirk have been talking about writing forever. I'm just going to actually do it every now and then and put new content up there for that. So, but that being said, we could really use some support in terms of as little as $1 a month. Think about that coffee you drink or whatever it is that costs $5 every day.
5 months.
We're talking about $1 for a month. Could really help us out, make everything better. We're working on some crazy new kind of programs and things that could make this show totally more awesome. So we'd appreciate that if you stop over to patreon.com/GCandC.
Yeah. Find us on Twitter at GCandC.
And always thank you to Fred Thomas for opening music and Xee Reiter for our awesome logo.
Thank you, Fred and C.
Thank you. All right. Stop now if you don't want to be spoiled on Solo. If you go too
I'll
far,
go see it.
it's not my fault. And go watch it.
So this is it. This week was one of those magical weeks that is happening more and more often where we get to drive to a movie theater and watch a new Star Wars movie. So we're going to, of course, I feel like I know Jeff's the same. I'm way more of a nerd for Star Wars than I am for this comic book garbage and all these video games and all that. So definitely an event for me, right? So, yeah, full spoilers. We're going full spoilers here.
Full
so,
spoilers.
There's
will spoil
a couple
the
of
shit
them
out of it.
that you don't want to hear about if you haven't seen the movie yet. So
If you haven't seen the movie, this isn't the review you're looking for.
That's right.
Correct. Go watch it, come back, watch this again.
Yeah. So
that being said,
we got
this is
Casey.
it. Darth Maul, right? Casey's joining us
And
again.
Darth Maul.
Casey, can
Fuck
you
me,
still
just talk about Darth Maul. Come on.
do you still look at your Twitter? Can people still find you over there?
Yeah,
Tell you you're wrong?
88. I still talk on there a little bit. Just not doing my channel actively right now. So.
Sure, but that's cool. I just want to make sure if I shout out your Twitter that actually makes sense and put it in here and all that.
Yeah.
Yep. Everybody go yell at Casey, tell him he's wrong over there. So
Yeah,
Jeff,
only wrong people tell me I'm wrong. So.
Right, of course. Yeah. So I'm gonna let Jeff start because Jeff has been going bonkers over this on the internet for the past couple days. So
I have
let's,
been,
let's,
dude.
let's let him go.
I love this movie because I went in there and I was very anxious and I was anxiously optimistic and I was down on it when we talked about it when they'd released the trailers and then there was a switch with Ron Howard having to take over for the original director because his daughter died. But they gave the previous directors a nice shout out at the end of the movie, and I thought that was really well done. I loved it. I felt like a kid. I couldn't stop smiling. So my reaction watching it was along the lines of how Corey felt watching Deadpool last week. But I just kept smiling because I thought that it captured the essence of Han Solo when he was young, and it showed him, very happy and vibrant and full of life. He finally got his freedom, getting off of Corellia. And then, it tied in great to see him in A New Hope, and he's this, beat down smuggler that's been just run through the ringer through the galaxy. And you got to see him in his youth and what his aspirations were. And you got to see Corellia, which I've always wanted to see how they're going to put Corellia. And as much as I dogged the speeder race, him getting away in the trailers and how it was drifting in Star Wars, when you're driving. I thought it was really well done. I thought it was a great thing where he's trying to flip the speeder, and it almost works. Almost works. But, and then, Emilia Clarke's his girlfriend, and she's hot. What can I say?
So
and there's a space kraken in it. I'm like, come on.
I got one big kind of question is what the hell happened at the end? I didn't see a convincing enough argument for why she would go with Darth Maul instead of him. Like, what was Darth Maul even telling her to do?
That's an unanswerable question. It's meant to be ambiguous.
It is.
The whole movie, after he realizes she's still alive and on this new planet, she's been on this new path, and everyone who's known her and only known her on this new path, not the sweet girl from Corellia, was like, dude, you don't know her. You don't even know her as well as we know her, and she's not who you think she is. And so that mystery around her is by far the best thing they did to set up the sequel, better than even Darth Maul. Having them have some sort of relation is interesting because is she a Sith? Is she working for the Empire? Yeah. Is she just working on some other third party, dark force path? But I mean, there's like fan theories out there now that she's Rey's mother and that they're going to change her lineage. All kinds of crazy shit. Her character is by far the most interesting when you leave the theater. And it's done because you don't know enough. They want you to have questions.
Yeah,
they didn't answer them all.
Sensitive? Did Darth Maul
but specifically, like when he even asked her to come to him, and he just said, "We're going to be working a lot more closely together," like.
Which means they've been working together already, just not that closely.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. And she was wearing his symbol that he had on when Han first saw her again and all that. But so clearly that there's something else going on. But I just thought that was one question, anyways, that I had. I didn't care. I was happy to see Darth Maul again and all that, and how they're, I was happy that they were. I think it'll be crazy if Darth Maul is not the villain for the Obi-Wan movie.
That would be sweet.
As well. If we really have the Ewan McGregor playing Obi-Wan and the original actor for Darth Maul playing Darth Maul, then I'm cool with that too. And I think I'll go full into it just while I'm on the topic. But clearly, when he stood up, I'm instantly looking at his lower torso, and he definitely had mechanical legs. They were definitely mechanical. So this is post getting cut in half. Now, I will say that I have always thought and I didn't watch all of the Clone Wars. I didn't watch all of Rebels. I watched a lot of both of them, but not all of them. And I always thought that the fact that he came back from being sliced in half was stupid, and I wanted to kind of ignore that and pretend like it didn't happen. But now that it's happening in the movies, I'm forced to wrap my head around it. And as I have, like I say, the fact that I think the obvious thing is him to be in the Obi-Wan movie now, and I think that'll be great. I'm looking forward to it, definitely. I feel like this whole thing, if they can build a bunch of cool stories around the prequels, then that's how they save the prequels, right? By making the story relevant in cool movies. Yeah, right, exactly. So
yeah, I wasn't expecting them to tie it into Solo, to tie it into the Obi-Wan movie. I thought it was going to be its own thing. That was unexpected, but it definitely seems like that's the direction they're going in.
Yeah.
Yep. And the only other two things I'll say, and then I'll let you guys spit about this for a while. But it was interesting. I noticed the first time, like the Imperial March was playing on the
recruiting movie,
right? Which is the first time that you've heard the score in the world.
Yes.
In any of these movies.
As a diegetic music, yes.
Yeah, right. So it was interesting that they made that choice. And then the other thing is, I know I would probably catch some shit for this from some people. But back when I first got the PS1, we used to rock a boatload of Star Wars Masters of Terraskazi.
Dude.
And so when Daenerys busted out the Terraskazi in the elevator and then named it,
Yes.
I mean, it's both funny and awesome. The fact that they took so much of the expanded universe stuff and threw it in the garbage, and they're making Terraskazi canon.
Yes.
Cracks me up. I can't believe that.
Well, when she said Terracotta, I was like, holy, are you kidding me right now? That is super awesome. And what's his name? I think it's Dryden. Dryden Voss, who is leader of the Crimson Sun. He had vibro knuckles. Those are what those were. Those hand, like brass knuckles kind of things. Those are vibro blades. And that was part of the Terrakasi's weapon of choice, was those. So, I mean, I was like, holy piss.
Nice.
I couldn't believe it. But you were right about the Imperial March. And it was very subtle. And it was well placed. But I noticed it right away. And I was really happy about that. I thought it was great that they were showing propaganda videos, which you've never seen before. All of a sudden, propaganda videos for the Empire,
right,
in a spaceport.
Yep. So, what did you guys think about the castings and all that stuff? Right. I mean, obviously, that's one of everybody's biggest kind of apprehensions going into this movie is you're recasting some of the most iconic characters in history. What do you guys think about these actors playing these roles?
Casey, you want to go?
Yeah. So I think the biggest question mark for everybody was Alden Ehrenreich as Han Solo.
Yeah.
And I'd only seen him in that one film he had a bit part in. That was a Coen Brothers movie. Can't remember the name of it. It was a very forgettable film, but he was actually the standout in it. I felt like he was really likable and interesting in that movie. I feel like in this movie he did as good a job as anyone could be, stepping into gigantic shoes that Harrison Ford has left behind in Han Solo.
He was in Hail Caesar.
Yeah, Hail Caesar. Yeah, he was pretty good in that. I liked him a lot. I liked Emilia Clarke's character. I liked Woody Harrelson's character. I said before I watched the movie, I was like, I get to see Woody Harrelson talk to Chewbacca. That's like a weird thing I never thought I'd see happen in my life, but I loved it. Obviously, Donald Glover's Lando, you couldn't ask for a better person.
Dude.
He's such a rising star right now.
I think we'll all agree.
He hasn't done anything wrong, and he was phenomenal. The thing I will say, I even liked Paul Bettany as the villain. I think he did a great job. There was even a little bit of a little Boba Fett in the background, if you guys noticed that.
I did.
He was hanging out in the background of his hangout.
Yeah.
I saw him. You can only see him for like a split second in the very corner of a frame, but you see the silhouette of him in his Mandalorian armor and everything.
Yeah.
I watched something that like that's Mandalorian armor like hanging in the like on a pedestal. Like
I thought that
part of the
because
art that he collected.
When they go back there later, I thought I saw it again, but it wasn't the same armor. They zoomed in a little bit, and it wasn't the same armor. So it means that they either had Boba Fett armor and changed it, or he was there and in the same kind of corner behind the armor, and they made it very hard to see. But my friend noticed it, and he's like, "Was that Boba Fett?" And I was like, "Yeah." But getting back to the casting, I liked all the casting. Really didn't have a problem with anybody. I just feel like Han Solo wasn't the most interesting character in his own film. But they made him charming. I think the thing that I wanted to see the most was not the Han Solo we know.
Yeah.
The Han Solo who's about to go through all the shit that makes him the Han Solo we know. Yep. And I feel like they've got a really good start. Obviously, this is going to be a trilogy. Like, we're not stupid. They're building this up to be a trilogy. I'm all for it. I'm glad that the kind of, like, origin story stuff is over, so now we can get into, like, the really nitty-gritty good stuff going forward with Emilia Clarke's character, what's going on with Darth Maul, all that. I feel like they did what they needed to do to make me believe that at one point he was a starry-eyed romantic, but still kind of a do-it-for-yourselfer, but wanted to do the right thing, but reluctant. And then over time, he's just going to become more and more reluctant until, of course, he shows up at the Mos Eisley Cantina.
Yeah, so. Yeah, I agree. I agree that, you know, he did portray Han Solo as, you said, you know, starry-eyed young kid full of, you know, that wanted to be a pilot. And he just wanted to have adventure and excitement. And he did a really good job at a lot of the subtle mannerisms from watching the original trilogy, but he gave it that boyish charm, that innocence, and not the grizzled veteran
And naivety.
and naivety, yeah, and you can see him sort of working through being a fast talker in that movie, but he wasn't really good at it. But he was working on it. I'm so glad that they did not have any speaking parts for Donald Glover in the trailers, because the first time I heard the voice, for a split second I thought it was Billy D. Williams. I thought maybe they voiced him over. I was like, wow, just from the voice I knew that was Lando, but he nailed that character spot on. Just that whole, suave, debonair kind of Casanova of space and a gambler. I was blown away. I really was. I loved him as there, and I liked how Han meets Chewbacca, and when he speaks Wookiee, I was dying.
Yeah, that was funny.
Yeah, when they said throw him in with the beast, all I heard was rumblings around like, is that gonna be Chewbacca? I think it's Chewbacca.
I knew it.
I was everyone had a feeling.
Or a Rancor, but
yeah.
No,
he's not going to survive a Rancor. He's not Luke Skywalker.
No, he's not. But then you see Chewie, and he looks like a wet dog in mud, and I thought that was really good. That the way they introduce each other, and then you see him in a shower. That's the first time we've ever seen a shower in Star Wars.
Corey, what do you think? What are your thoughts on the characters and the actors?
I think they were good. I really liked. I think Emilia Clarke and Donald Glover were the two best for sure. He played an awesome Lando, and I really liked her character. I thought Han was good. I don't think anybody was bad. I think Donald Glover and Emilia were the best.
Well, I will say I think Woody was bad. I think Woody was. I wish he wasn't in this movie.
I didn't mind Woody.
He definitely was too much. I'm looking at Woody Harrelson act like Woody Harrelson in a Star Wars movie.
He was kind of like Woody Harrelson from Zombieland a little bit.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah,
he was pissed off and gritty and didn't trust anybody, but he had a reason to, sort of thing.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. But yeah, everybody else I liked. Alden, once I started watching it, can't hold it against the guy that he doesn't sound like Harrison Ford.
Yeah.
But I thought he did a great job, like Jeff said, of doing the mannerisms, just the stances and everything that he had. You'd see a scene of him from behind, and it would be like, that's Han Solo. You know what I mean? So clearly he studied it. And I think he pulled it off as good as anybody could, like Casey said. So, and then just kind of going on, just overall between everybody, like my thoughts was I liked this movie. I didn't think it was great. I thought it was good. It was a good Star Wars movie. I feel like we're at this point that the Marvel movies have been at for a long time now, where even the ones that don't completely blow me away are still good movies. And I know everyone that I go to is going to be a good movie. I'm going to have fun watching it, right? I feel like I'm there with these Star Wars movies. Are they great? No, I don't think any of them are great now, even in retrospect with The Force Awakens and in The Last Jedi and all that, but they're all good. We're in so much of a better spot than we were in the prequel days. You know what I mean? I could take my kids to a movie and we're all going to have fun watching a Star Wars movie. And this wasn't an exception to that. I do think that you take the Star Wars coat off of this movie, and it's a boring movie. Like, Jeff, you said you sat there smiling throughout the whole thing. Like, I was kind of bored throughout the whole thing, to be honest. Like, and it was clearly, Corey said to me the other night, and I agree with him, it's like they took the checklist of what's everything that you've ever heard about Han Solo and not seen on the screen, and let's make a movie about that. And they just went through the checklist, and like the heist side of it wasn't very good, I don't think.
No,
I agree. Yeah, the high side bothered me because I went in thinking, what if they could do I wanted a scene where it was like him, Harrelson, Lando, Chewbacca doing something along the lines of like the first scene of The Dark Knight with the Joker clowns all
agreed.
taking.
Yes.
That would be so great. Like if it was methodically plotted out, these are some of the best smugglers and people ever. But really, what they do is they're basically given this completely unnecessary, like super thin timeline by Paul Bettany's character, where they have to get this ridiculous amount of things across the universe, which they're unstable, and all these elements breed tension, but for unnecessary purposes. They could have just gave them a week or two so that we could have had a really cool heist scene where everyone, like, where Lando had to be smooth to, like, distract a sexy lady who's, like, the receptionist or something at a cool, like, place. I don't know, something like that.
More like
and instead,
Ocean's
all we got
11?
was plans that fell to shit.
Yeah.
And every 2 seconds something went wrong. The only good part was the robot, Lando's robot, starting the revolt.
Yeah.
That was fucking amazing. If it had to go wrong, that's the way you should do it, where it's fun, exciting, and hilarious, and done for a reason. But the rest of the heists, like the train heists and stuff, it wasn't well thought out. It was just like, hey, what would a bunch of dumb, drunk outlaws do in a tight spot? Instead of like, what are the best smugglers and criminals in the history of the Star Wars universe going to do? They're going to do a piss poor job of it, and it's going to fail, and they're going to betray each other 20 times. That's what happens. So I'm hoping in the next movie they do more heists, that actually something goes right for a change.
Actually, yeah,
Right.
more of the con man. I mean, this one sort of shows that, you know, he's working on being a con man, but the heists were a little thin. I'll agree. I did like seeing the Kessel Run, though. You know, and I think
I didn't realize that's what the Kessel Run was. I always thought of it as kind of like a race or something. Like,
well, they don't really allude to it. They just, because you always hear Han talking about how he made the Kessel Run in 12 parsecs,
right.
and you know it has been known. It's been talked about. It's never been. I don't remember if it was officially made canon, but the way he did the Kessel Run to get out of that maelstrom was he found that basically gravitational wormhole, that gravitational well, and went light speed through it, and that's how he got out of there in 12 parsecs rather than taking the 20 parsecs it normally takes to navigate through it.
Yeah. I agree with Nate and Casey. I thought it was good, not great. Yeah, I would have preferred a movie about it, like a big heist or something too, instead of a Han Solo checklist and a new Han Solo love interest and a decent story. Like, but it was good. I enjoyed the whole thing. Like, I mean, I just didn't think it was amazing or anything. I liked it. I give it 7.5. Like, I liked it. I didn't come out of it thinking like, oh, that sucked or anything. I was like, I looked at my buddy and I was like, that was good.
Yeah, I mean, to me, like I said before, you take the Star Wars paint off of it, and I don't like it so much. But the Star Wars paint is on it, and it's awesome paint. Like, to me, like they put enough cool stuff in there that I can see past all that and had a good time. Like I say, watching a Star Wars movie. I'm go ahead.
I was just gonna. I walked out really happy because I didn't get any enthusiasm from the trailers, honestly.
Yeah, me too.
I knew the cast was going to be good. I knew the story would hit some of those check marks. I knew they'd throw in a couple extra fun characters and moments and stuff. I knew they'd do their best job. And but I was like still expecting it to be kind of bad, just like boring or just not like just flat. And I walked out because it was fun. Yeah, it was fun. There was some great laughs. There was some really good scenes. I just felt like the scenes that were supposed to be tense were just kind of like dragged on. Like, because I did feel bored a couple of times, but it wasn't because like nothing fun was happening. People were just talking about like, I don't know, Trade Federation like documents or some shit like that. But it was more like this action is happening and it's really loud and it's really in your face and it's been going on for like 15 minutes. But it was almost like the pod race scene where I was like, there aren't any real stakes here. It's just excitement because it's loud noises coming at you and like a lot of special effects. But I didn't feel the tenseness. I didn't feel the characters like leaning on each other, ever looking at each other like, oh my god, I'm gonna lose you or anything like that. Like the only one they lost was a robot, and she was cool or whatever. But
I felt that
I only really liked her because I just wanted to find out whose voice it was. That's all. Like all I could think about.
It wasn't Brianna Tarth, Gwen Christie.
I knew that.
I thought it was at first. I thought that the Lando mourning the loss of the droid was a little drawn out. I did feel that was.
I liked her becoming part of the ship because it actually calls back to when R2 like interfaces with the ship. There's a weird dialect he doesn't understand later in the movies.
That was 3PO in Empire
That's
Strikes
3PO,
Back
yeah.
when they're in the asteroid belt, because 3PO makes the comment, I don't know where the navigation computer has learned this interesting dialect.
Yeah, I like that. I like that tie-in, but
I did too. I like the music because they did bring back an original score from Empire Strikes Back when he's going through Kessel and he's about to make that jump. They play the chase music from the asteroid scenes in Empire Strikes Back, and I thought that added that's what gave me the feels, was listening to some of that music that you associate with Han Solo when he's doing stuff, and I just really keyed into it in those key points of the movie when they did it, and we didn't talk about the dice. You know, the dice has been like one of those huge Easter eggs that only if you watch New Hope, a lot of times did you notice Chewie hitting his head on the dice, and then they were never seen again, and it was only brought back into the foreground in Last Jedi when Luke hands those dice to Leia. So I like that they had the dice in there, and he'd throw it up on the dash, because that's going back to American Graffiti. That was paying homage to American Graffiti with George Lucas's one of his first feature-length films.
yeah,
I like the battle scene. It was definitely the dirtiest. Like when they're on the ground in the mud.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
the dirtiest Star Wars battle you've ever seen. It's always white, shiny stormtroopers, you know, and they're in the dirt. I would kind of wish it had been more intense. And
these weren't stormtroopers. This was the Imperial Army. Those poor
Yeah,
guys.
exactly.
Apparently, you have to earn a stormtrooper outfit.
Yeah.
I thought they just threw some idiot in there, but
So,
those are like the elites, and they still can't hit anything.
That's what I was going to say.
I didn't really like how Han got his name. But
Solo?
whatever.
Solo,
Yeah.
that was a little cheesy.
Yeah.
I felt that was flat. That was one of the flat parts of the movie, was how they gave him his last name. Because you could see it building already, you know. It was there was no fortune. It was just like, meh, I know.
I like the dice part for Emilia Clarke's character, especially because it showed us that in the end, she might be someone that we can't trust and someone that has to do bad things or even maybe wants to do bad things or be on that side with Darth Maul and them. But there's still a part of her who's still that girl he fell in love with.
Yeah.
And that's the part of her that kept all those years. So it's kind of nice because I feel like maybe they're both the same kind of person. The person that they're a survivor. They're going to do whatever it takes to survive, even throw their friend like a knife in their friend's back if they have to. But there's still a part of them that wishes the world wasn't the way it was so that they could be together and have that happy ending. But the world is what they've been given, and they're both just adapting in different directions. And it makes me understand now why he might fall in love later with someone, but fight every fucking ounce of it for as long as he could until it was just, there was no point anymore in fighting because he wanted to be that. And they fought for a better world, and they got it for at least a brief period of time before the Empire came back. So
yeah.
Makes me understand him better.
I agree. I gave it a 9.2. That's what I give it. Just
7.5.
Yep. I'm at 7.0.
I know.
I forgot about a few parts of it, honestly, between watching it like 4 days ago and now, that we've talked about since. And so I will say, because they did all the characters are really, they did them service, I think I will change my 7.5 to an 8.
Nice.
Because there's really nothing wrong with the movie. It's just that there's some things that could have been better. So I can't really demonize it that much. There's just a few things I wanted to be a little bit more sleek and suave in like a Ocean's 11 in space sort of thing.
Yeah.
I didn't get that. I might get it in the sequel. Who knows? But for what it needed to do, for the characters it needed to serve, for the period of time in those things like the Kessel Run that it needed to serve, and it did its job pretty well. I'd even maybe go for an 8.5. Because there's not a whole lot of things I could say bad about it. So.
Where do you guys put it with all the Disney movies? Like, I think it's the worst of the Disney movies so far.
I agree.
Really?
Yep.
No.
I'd rather watch any of the other three before
I'd
this.
say Rogue One's the best one, then
Agreed.
The Force Awakens, then Solo, then The Last Jedi.
I'll swap those last two with you. I think Last Jedi is
the Disney
better.
movies?
Force Awakens, Rogue,
No.
Last Jedi, Solo.
I would do Last Jedi, Rogue One. They're close. They're closely tied. I really liked Rogue One. So, I love Last Jedi. Force Awakens has waned a little bit on me.
Wait till you watch Last Jedi again.
I've seen Last Jedi like 4 times now, and I love that movie. I had to watch it right before we reviewed it, and I thought it was great.
So where'd you put this one?
So I would put this one before Force Awakens. I really like.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Gotcha. All right.
Of the Disney movies. Yep.
Cool. All right. Well,
But
thanks everybody for watching.
It wasn't Ocean's 11. It was a space pirate movie with a fucking kraken, a space kraken.
I wish it came out before Infinity War. I could have been nicer to it. Infinity War's so great. And Deadpool. Should have come out before those.
It should have.
Yeah, I would have never guessed that this would be my least favorite of those 3 movies.
If this was a concert, I'm sorry, but Han Solo would be the opening act.
Yeah, I agree.
And then you would get Deadpool 2, and then everyone would really show up for Infinity War. They'd be the closer. And they'd be craving for encore, but you would only get one.
All right.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us again, Casey. As always, having you on for movies. What's the next movie coming out? We actually have to wait a couple months, huh?
Incredibles.
What is it?
Incredibles 2? No.
Incredibles, then Jurassic World, then Ant-Man and Wasp.
I might watch
Ant-Man and
Jurassic
Wasp.
World, but most likely Ant-Man and Wasp.
Incredibles 1 is one of the best superhero movies ever made. And it's the only good Fantastic Four movie ever made. So.
That's true.
All right.
All right.
Well, we'll at least see you for Ant-Man and Wasp.
Yeah.
All right,
Let's
sounds
say
good.
that. Everybody else, thanks a lot. This has been Comically Gaming, episode 106. Thank you for joining us.
Peace.
Thanks.